Hey guys, so you're getting ready to watch the video that I just recorded over a week, and I was sitting here editing it, and I realized some things are not entirely clear. We do not count macros, we're not counting carbs, we're not counting how much protein, we're not figuring out a fat to protein ratio. We're not at that point yet. Right now, we're just trying to keep our carb count down. So I'm just cooking low carb. I'm mainly making meat with some non-starchy vegetables. And if I eat anything that's a little carby, like some cherries or something like that, that's on me. Nobody else has to do that. Chris is not doing that. On the whole, our meals are just that. Low carb, mainly meats, eggs, some cheese, some dairy, and some low carb vegetables. So I hope that clears it up. If you're wanting recipes with exact ratios, this is not that kind of video. It's just what we had for a week, trying to keep our carb count down. Hey guys, this is Shannon, and it is Monday the 4th. It is about 1:15, and I am just starting mine and Chris's first meal of the day. We did blood work this morning, so we were fasting. We usually only eat 2 meals a day anyway, and our first one is usually after 1, so not that big of a difference for us. So I have started part of what we're having for dinner tonight, and we'll also have some more of it later on in the week. Like the Mississippi roast. The amount of carbs with the brown gravy, I'm just not that concerned with it. I don't use as much as a full packet. I just sprinkle some in there. So I'm not concerned. It's one of our favorite things to eat as a side on our meals. So I have that going, and I'll show you also what I have pulled out in the freezer to get grilled up in the next day or so. But I am working on breakfast right now. We're gonna have some eggs. It is very hot here in Florida. So the chickens are slacking off, and I sell eggs too. So we're running a little bit low, and I refuse to buy eggs. So we're going to be having some eggs and then having some bacon, and I think it's called pork al pastor. I'll show you what I picked. All right, we had a slight interruption, had groceries delivered and someone coming to buy eggs. So I had to go take care of both things before I could continue on. So I already have dinner started in the crock pot. I think I had mentioned that. And that is going to be a Mississippi beef roast, chuck roast in there. We absolutely love that. So that is going. And then I am doing some of this meat right here. I've never done it before. It was on BOGO at Publix, so I picked up a couple bags to try. And then I had pre-done bacon over the weekend, so I'm getting ready to, it's like 90% cooked. Warming it up, we'll cook it the rest of the way, crisp it up, and then I will make some eggs and maybe a little something on the side. We'll see. All right, this is Chris's brunch for the day. It has that shredded meat. I took a bite of it. Absolutely delicious. A couple slices of bacon, a couple of farm fresh eggs, and a couple of fresh strawberries. He already has his coffee. I'm gonna run this to him. I'm gonna make my plate and head back to work. Hey guys, I was late getting back to lunch, so this is what I am eating on my desk. I really wasn't really feeling eggs today, so I pulled one of my new layer eggs, one of my baby eggs, and just made myself like one fried egg and a couple slices of bacon, some of that meat, which I'm getting ready to order more. We absolutely love it, thinks it is delicious. So I'm gonna get some more bags, put them up in the freezer for a quick little side dish. And then I had a couple cherries. Yes, I know that it is higher in carbs, but the way I see it is if I keep my carb count down for the day under the number that I have allotted to myself, then I don't care how I get my carbs, honestly. So if I want to eat all of my carbs right here with this, then that's what I do. And so far it's been working. So I decided to not get coffee. I put it back and I just made myself an element right here. So that is what I'm working on. I'm just having my element, and this is my brunch, and we will eat sometime after 6 for dinner. All right, guys, it is a little after 8:15, and we are having our Monday evening meal. We have the roast in here, and Chris came in and shredded it up for me. It is ready to go. we have some wings. These are lemon pepper. Cooked up a few mushrooms. Yes, this is how we like them. We put butter and salt on them. The mushrooms shrink down quite a bit, but it's just butter and some seasoning, and we microwave them, and it gives them kind of a chewy texture that we really, really love. And then I steamed up some broccoli, then poured it back into the bottom of the pot here with some butter and seasoning. And then I have a little bit of my homemade sauerkraut. I am going to drink some of my tea that I had prepped yesterday. I do a week's worth at a time. And I'm sure Chris is gonna have water. So I'm gonna go ahead and get everything plated up, and we're gonna enjoy some dinner. And this is Chris's plate, and I'm gonna go ahead and get mine dished up. All right, and this is what I am having. The last of the broccoli that was in the pot, probably a little more than I need. Some meat, the mushrooms with the little stem bits, some sauerkraut, and wings. And I'll fill up my glass of tea. And Muggsy is just searching and hoping I spilled something on the floor. Okay guys, it is almost 10 o'clock, and this is something I would have normally done on Sunday in my prep video, but my Sunday just got away from me. I know a lot of people that do keto and carnivore, they completely get away from anything sweet. Chris is not a huge sweet person. I am a massive sweet person. And maybe one day I will be able to stay away from the sweet stuff. I have really, really tried, but I tend to fall off the wagon if I don't give myself something sweet. And I know that about myself because I've tried. So I tend to make a couple of sweet desserts that are still very low carb, no sugar, to get me through the week. Chris actually sent me a video today. I realized I did not write it in the best color marker for a butter milkshake that people do when they're fat fasting. And it's 2 tablespoons of butter that you melt, and then you add it to 3 tablespoons of hot water and blend it together. And then in a mixer, you put 1 cup of heavy cream, a big scoop of ice, some sort of an extract or sweetener if you want. And then last, you add the butter water mixture and you blend it. And supposedly it is an amazing milkshake. So I'm going to make one of those for us just to split tonight and try. But to put in the fridge to have later on in the week, there's also a Greek yogurt recipe going around where you use sugar-free Jell-O mix and Greek yogurt. Chris and I have made that before. It is very good. I made strawberry last time. This time I'm gonna do the black cherry. He really likes black cherry. And then I make like a thick mousse with heavy cream. Do heavy cream with a little bit of water. And I think I'm gonna do a lemon one. I usually do chocolate or vanilla, but we like lemon too, so I think I'm gonna do lemon. So I just had my kettle on to boil, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a few of these things going so I can get them set up in the fridge, and Chris and I have our dessert and then get showers and all of that tonight. So let me get started on this. All right, as you can see, the milkshake was good. I'd like to be able to make it a little bit thicker, and I think I want to tweak it just a little bit. We did vanilla extract. I just used some of my homemade vanilla in it, and it's not as strong as a vanilla flavor. So I think maybe some vanilla bean paste or something like that in there to give it a nice, good, strong flavor without watering it down any. So definitely worth tweaking. Chris loved it. I just went there and stood next to the bed and we swapped back and forth tasting it until we finished it off. I went ahead and made a chocolate mousse. So I have a lemon and a chocolate, and those are gonna go in the fridge, and I'm gonna check to see if the Jell-O mixture is cool enough that I can go ahead and get it blended and put away so that I can clean up the kitchen and get things wrapped up in here tonight and go join Chris. Hey guys, it is Tuesday and it is a little after 1. I just came in from the office and I am working on Chris's and my first meal of the day, what we call our brunch. He wanted some of the meat we had last night, that roast, so good. Once it was shredded and put down into the liquid in the bottom, it just absorbs all that liquid and so good. So that is what's left of it. And I asked him if he wanted me to try and take it, adding it into some scrambled eggs with some cheese, and he said yes. And he's like, maybe a dollop of sour cream on top. So I'm going to kind of make an egg scramble with this meat, because this has got some spice to it. It's a little bit spicy. It has the, what are they called, the pepperoncini, I'm not sure exactly how you say those peppers. And then I also add Italian seasoning packet into it, and oh my gosh, that just ups the spice level. I'm a big old wuss when it comes to spice, so it's a lot for me. So the eggs, the cheese, and the sour cream is definitely going to tame it down for me just a little bit. And then he wants some bacon. And then I just kind of was wanting something cool. So I pulled some cottage cheese, and I have some tomatoes and some cucumber and some fresh tomatoes and cucumbers. I'm just going to slice them up, salt and pepper them, and sprinkle them on top of a little bit of cottage cheese. So this is what I am making us for brunch today. All right, this is Chris's. I just gave him just a couple of those cherry tomatoes with salt and pepper, a couple strips of bacon, and probably about 3/4 of the meat, cheese, egg mixture that I made up. And here is what I am having for my brunch. I have some of that shredded beef with cheese and egg and sour cream, 1 slice of bacon, and there was probably less than 1/4 cup of cottage cheese left in the bottom of that container, with probably, I don't know, 1/4 of that cucumber and a few of the cherry tomatoes, salt and pepper, and just all mixed up. So I'm gonna have this with a tea and head back to work. Hey guys, it is Tuesday night, a little after 6. I don't actually know what we are eating tonight for dinner, but I know what we're gonna eat later this week. I am craving some Greek, some Lebanese, some Middle Eastern food. I'm part Lebanese, and every now and then I just get a craving, and tonight was one of those cravings. So I decided I'm gonna go ahead and just marinate some chicken and make something similar to tzatziki sauce. I'm gonna probably do something along these lines. I have all the ingredients and like a Greek marinade for chicken, and maybe I'll do some pork, I'm not sure, but I know I'm gonna definitely do some chicken and then grill it either tomorrow night or the night after. I try and always keep a few of these cans. Yes, there are some carbs in this, but I'll only eat 1 or 2 of them, and then I'll put them in the fridge in a mason jar, and have them over the next couple of weeks, because they last a really long time in the fridge, because it's in like an olive oil mixture. So I'm gonna enjoy those. I doubt Chris will touch them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make the marinade and make the sauce, and it's better if it just blends and marinades together for a couple of days, at least, you know, overnight. The flavors just are so good. So I'm gonna do that and get that in the fridge to let it marinate, and then I'm gonna figure out what to make for dinner tonight. It's a little after 6. I'm personally not really hungry right now. Chris is not super hungry, so I'm gonna do this first, and then I'll make a decision as to what we want to eat. All right, guys, I have not put the lid on and shaken all this yet. I just thought I'd show you that I did skewers under here so that they will go on the grill. We have a little small charcoal grill and gas grill up on our back porch, and then we have like our big smokers and all that further out. But when it's just Chris and I, we tend to use the smaller one. So this will easily fit on the small grill. I think I'm gonna make some hashwi tomorrow night to go with it, which is just, usually it's lamb, but I'm just going to use beef because that's what I have, with onions and pine nuts and seasoning and stuff. So I'll do a side dish of that. It is amazing with pita bread and rice, but we're going to skip that part. And we're going to have the chicken with the tzatziki type dipping sauce and some hashwi, and then I'll probably do some grape leaves. I might do some fattoush salad, but I am not sure yet. That's not Chris's favorite, and I don't know if I'm gonna make a big thing of that. So I have my fattoush dressing if I want. I'm just gonna go ahead and toss that in the fridge so it will cool off, but I'm gonna put the lid on this, give it a good shake so it covers everything, and then let it marinate in the refrigerator. All right, guys, it is 7 o'clock and I am starting on our dinner. I still have some produce coming out of the garden. So this is onions, a couple of different kinds of peppers, some zucchini, some garlic. I'm using baking grease and coconut oil together to cook it in, and then I'll season it up. Getting ready to throw these meatballs in. They were just some meatballs I already had made up in the freezer, so those are going in. And then we are trying some of this chicken shawarma. We had tried the pork yesterday that I had bought, and I thought this would be a nice side dish to go with the meatballs and the veggies. And I am gonna throw those in a pan with a little bit of oil and cook that up, and I may add something. Oh, we're definitely gonna have some sauerkraut. Trying to do that every night to help Chris's gut health, and I'll see if there's anything else I want to add. Maybe some fried cheese or something along those lines just to kind of round it out. Okay guys, this is Chris's dinner. I just gave him 3 of the meatballs. He may decide he wants more. Just a little pile of that shawarma. He's got some sauerkraut, sour cream for the meatballs, and then this is just some of that sauteed veggies. It was zucchini, onions, garlic, 2 kinds of peppers, cooked in a combo of some bacon grease and coconut oil, and then seasoned up. So that is what we have, and if he wants something sweet a little later, I have a couple of those like mousse type mixes made up in the refrigerator, so we can have a late night snack if we so choose. So I'm gonna go ahead and dish mine up and we're gonna have dinner. Hey guys, it is Wednesday, about 1:17, and I am getting ready to make Chris and I's first meal of the day, our brunch as we call it. And today is going to be a smorgasbord of meat. I just pulled a bunch of different leftovers that we had from the weekend or the last couple days out of the fridge. This is what's left of that chuck roast. Chris had grilled up a steak over the weekend. He had done it like rare to medium rare, so it can handle being rewarmed. So I'm gonna cut this up and warm it up in some butter. This is some of the ground beef that Chris and I had made. I will link in how we buy a chuck roll and turn it into ground beef so that it is super tender. And you're getting beef from just 1 cow and not 100 cows, like when you buy ground beef from the store. These are a couple of sausages that were left over, and then I have some of the cheese here that doesn't have seed oil to go on top of the burger for Chris, because I'm not going to have any burger. I'm probably going to have a little bit of steak, a little bit of beef, maybe a little piece of the sausage. So I'm going to get everything warmed up, and of course I'll do Chris a couple of eggs on the side and get everything cooked and plated. All right, this is Chris's brunch. He has 2 eggs, a couple of bites of steak, a sausage, a little bit of the shredded beef, a burger patty with a slice of cheese, and some sugar-free ketchup and mustard. So I'm gonna get him this and then see what he wants to drink, most likely just water. He already had his coffee earlier today. And then I'm gonna make myself a plate, and it is about time to go back to work. So I'm gonna get this plated up. Hey guys, I'm back at my desk, and this is what I have. Some of that shredded beef. I was not feeling eggs today. I wasn't feeling burger. I wasn't feeling sausage. I got the rest of that steak, a couple of slices of Havarti cheese, and 5 cherries. My carb is mainly right here because it's about a carb a cherry, and I'm okay with that. So I'm going to have my lunch, get back to work, and I'll see you this afternoon. Hey guys, it is a Wednesday evening, almost 7:45, and I am working on dinner. Chris actually has the grill going right now, and the marinated chicken is going to go on there. I had mentioned previously that I was going to make hashwi as like a side to the marinated chicken, and I went and looked and I had no small pieces of beef that I could pull out. Steaks. I should have saved that steak from this morning and turned it into a small side of hashwi, but I did not. So I only had like big roast and big chunks of meat. So I decided to make hashwi with pork. I've never done that before. I've always done beef or beef and lamb combo. Definitely not traditionally done like that, but I had a bunch of these pork steaks. So I just pulled 3 pork steaks up and then cooked them up just the way I do hashwi. I will link in the corner here of how you make hashwi the real way, but this is just onions, butter, and then you use cinnamon, salt, pepper, pine nuts, and then your meat. In this instance, I used pork. I've never made it with pork before. I've always, like I said, used beef or lamb. So we're going to see how this turns out. But I know that pork does well with sweet flavor, so I think it'll be really good. All right, it is almost 8:30. I don't even know what time we started. I don't remember. I think it was 7:30. I don't even know. Chris just took the chicken off the grill. So we are getting ready to have that. That is the marinated chicken. There is my pork hashwi, and then we have some labneh or tzatziki sauce to dip it in. I have a mixture of some Greek olives here on the side, and then I have some stuffed grape leaves. Chris might eat one of those, but he probably does not want the carbs. If he does, he'll eat one at the most. So I'll give him one, and if he wants it, great. If not, well, then I'll probably end up eating it. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the plates dished up. All right, there is Chris's plate, and this is what I am having. We have plenty of the meat left, so I'm sure this is going to be a leftover meal later on this week. There are some sausages in the residual heat on the charcoal grill right now, so Chris will probably have those this week at some point also, but definitely we'll be having more of this. There's still plenty of dip. And of course, one of my favorite things, still plenty left, are my grape leaves. And like I said, they'll go in a mason jar in the fridge where they will last for a good long time. And I can just have 1 or 2 at a time over the next couple of weeks. Hey guys, it is almost 10:45 and Chris and I are having a late night snack while we watch the debut of Wednesday. Yes, we are old. Yes, we are still gonna watch it. But he has a cup of coffee and I have a cup of tea. And then this is some of that mousse that I made, a little bit of chocolate and a little bit of lemon, and then just a couple of the Lily's dark chocolate chips on top of the chocolate. And this is it. All right, guys, I hope you're having a great Wednesday evening. Hey guys, it is almost 1:15 on Thursday, and I am making Chris's and my brunch. We are using up leftovers today. So there is one sausage that he had previously grilled, I think Sunday. We have a couple meatballs from a couple nights ago. We have some more of that chuck roast that was from Monday. I have eggs, so I'm gonna make him some cheesy scrambled eggs, some sour cream to dip the meatballs in. And once I have it all plated up, I may decide to add a little bit of bacon or something like that to his. Mine, I am not going the breakfasty route. I am going the lunch route. This is just some of my vacuum sealed lettuce from like 2 weeks ago. I need to go ahead and use it up. It's finally starting to get a little bit wimpy, so I need to use that up. And then I have some of the chicken from last night. I have a little bit of salami, feta, olives, and then I'm gonna have a grape leaf with it. I need to grab some tomatoes, and I have a bell pepper from the garden, and I need to grab some cucumber out of the fridge. So I'm gonna go ahead and do his first because it is going to be hot, and I wanna give him that all together, and then I'll make up my salad. All right, guys, this is Chris's brunch. These last 3 had gotten a little bit toasty when I was cooking them, but we like them like that, so we are fine with having some little extra toasty meatballs. That's the last of that chuck roast. These are 3 of the new layer chick eggs. They were pretty baby eggs, so I did 3 of them scrambled in butter with some cheese. And then there is 1 of these sausages left. I bit the end off to see if I liked it. It is all Chris's, so not my favorite. And a little bit of sugar-free ketchup and a little bit of mustard and a little bit of sour cream for him to dip his meatballs, and he already has his coffee. So I'm gonna get this to him and make up my plate. All right, guys, this is my salad. Yes, it is a massive salad. I just took whatever lettuce was still decent. I went through all my little vacuum seal containers, salvaged what I could, threw it in a bowl, chopped up my vegetables. I did not put the salami in here. I decided just to throw all the chicken that was left in here, and what I eat, and what I don't will go out to the chicken. So I just have some olives and cucumbers and bell pepper and tomatoes, chicken, feta, lettuce. And I have a couple of grape leaves, and then I have myself an element and my water, and this will take me through the end of the day. Hey guys, so it is almost midnight on Thursday. We were not going to have dinner. Chris wasn't feeling great tonight, and so we had decided we were just gonna skip dinner tonight. And he's feeling a little better now, and decided he wanted some scrambled eggs and sausage with some mixed nuts for dessert. So that's what I'm getting ready to make him. I don't think I'm gonna eat anything. I ate that really big salad for lunch, and I ate most of it. So I don't think I'm gonna have much of anything. I might have a couple bites of his eggs, but I'm gonna go ahead and just get this made up real quick for him and then head back to bed. And done. A couple scrambled eggs, 1 sausage, and some mixed nuts for dessert. All right, guys, hope you're having a great evening. Hey guys, it is a little after 5:30 on Friday evening, and Chris and I are getting ready to have our first meal of the day. We never ate lunch. I worked through lunch today, and it has just been a very, very busy day. So we're getting ready to have dinner earlier than we normally have. We have some chicken wings going on the grill right now, and I had run into the grocery store today and had picked these up. So I am gonna make a side of shrimp to go with some wings for dinner, and see if he wants a sausage. I know we have some sausage cooked and ready to go in the refrigerator, so I'll see if he wants wings, sausage, and shrimp for dinner. All right, guys, and just like that, dinner is done. It was super simple tonight because Chris was able to do the wings for me on the grill. Sausage was already cooked. I just cooked up the shrimp in a mixture of some bacon grease and butter, and sprinkled it with a little bit of Element, the mango chili. I really like that on avocado and on shrimp. I had him some of the sugar-free shrimp dipping sauce and some sugar-free mustard and ketchup for his sausage. And then we have the Sweet Baby Ray's no sugar barbecue sauce on the chicken. So that is dinner. I'm dishing up and we're gonna eat. All right, here is my plate. Not all the other stuff. I just grabbed 2 shrimp. I honestly don't love naked shrimp. If I'm gonna eat shrimp, I want to eat fried coconut shrimp, honestly. Blackened shrimp are okay. I'm really trying to broaden my horizons and eat shrimp like this. Just not my favorite. So I'm just gonna eat 2 of them. And then I have some chicken wings. There's still some leftover of other things in the fridge if this is not enough, but there's still a whole plate full of wings if I want more of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab myself a water and go join Chris. Hey guys, it is Saturday afternoon. It is like after 5 o'clock. I think it's almost 5:30 or so. And I'm actually sitting in the Publix parking lot. Chris and I went on a little car ride today. He was feeling up for going on a ride, so we decided to take the dogs. He was craving some fried fish. I am not a fish person, not a big seafood person. So we decided to take the dogs on a ride and go get him some fried fish. I just ordered a burger patty or a regular burger, and I took the bun off. So I just had a burger and cheese. And early this morning, I say early, like 11 o'clock, Chris had just made us a cup of coffee and warmed up some bacon that I had pre-cooked, but I didn't think about filming that. So none of that is on film, but he did have himself some fried fish and coleslaw, and he is a happy person. But there was a couple things I wanted from Publix that they had on BOGO, and Chris wanted me to go get some more chicken from Winn-Dixie. I was telling him about the chicken sale yesterday that I did not get, and he said, hey, could you go back and get that? So I'm gonna run into Publix and get some BOGO items, and then I'm gonna run over to Winn-Dixie and get the chicken that he wanted, and maybe a few more steaks. I showed him the steaks I picked up, and he's like, yeah, maybe pick up a few more of those. So I'm gonna see what they have, and hit the 2 stores, and then go home, and we are gonna watch the fights, which started like an hour ago. So the prelims are on, so I'm gonna go home and clean house and put groceries away and watch fights with him, and then we may grill out later this evening. All right, I'm gonna go hit the stores and get back home. Marksy, do you wanna go for a ride? Yeah? All right, guys, I am done with the second store, and every time I step foot inside a grocery store, I am reminded why I do online orders. 1, the people, and 2, I am an impulse buyer, and it is very hard for me to walk by donuts, bagels, pastries, little, individual things that you can just grab and go. So it's hard for me to do that. Giant boxes of stuff, no problem. Giant pies and cakes and all that, yeah, it's huge. You can just walk right by it. But little individual, donuts that you just grab a little paper and take one with you, those are hard to walk by. So I'm gonna take all of my meat home and get it put away and move on with my day. All right, guys, I am home later than I wanted to be, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull out some of this meat that we may end up grilling some up tonight, depends on how Chris is feeling, and the rest I'm getting ready to separate and vacuum seal. So I spent a total of $136.77. I'd actually just gone yesterday. I will link that video up here. But like I said, when I went over some of the prices with Chris on things where he said, hey, go back, get some more stuff. So I did. I got 2 packages each of these chicken thighs. And so I spent $9.50 for that pack and $10.01 for that pack. These are all legs. I spent $9.36 for the first pack and $7.17 for the second. And then the wings, I picked up 2 packages of wings. One of them was $20.15 and the second one was $20.35. So the wings were $3.99 a pound. The legs were $1.69 a pound, and the thighs were $2.19 a pound. So pretty decent on chicken. I already have a decent amount of chicken already frozen and vacuum sealed in the freezer, but Chris really wanted some fresh stuff, and for these prices, we know we'll use it, so I can just go ahead and get it put together and vacuum sealed. I picked up a little bit more beef. Like I said, the prices weren't that great and the quality isn't that great. So again, these are just some thin steaks just to have on a side or with breakfast. A couple of these boneless chuck steaks. This one was $5.24. They're $10.69 a pound. So that tells you just how small it is. And the second one was $5.24. I got 2 of these ribeye steaks. They're okay. One of them was $5.01. It was on sale, and the other one was $8.07. And then these were 2 New York strips. One of them was $6.19. The other one was $8.64. And then they actually had some of these flanken ribs. These are really hard to find in our area. So I picked up 2 packages of these, $3.60 for one, and $4.67. I think they only had like 4 packages of them, so I just got 2 of them. I didn't take everything. And then I have been wanting some real lamb, so I just picked up some lamb shoulder chops, and that is $5.93. Just a couple little small pieces. I can make some hashui with it, or I can mix some beef with it so that you just get the flavor of the lamb. But I have that. And then I picked up these for my daughter. She is a teacher and she's visiting this weekend, and she has to be gluten-free. So, but she is a grab and go in the morning, and she likes to have muffins. So I'm gonna make her some blueberry muffins. I have tons of frozen blueberries that I can make hers with, and canned blueberries. So that is the end of the Winn-Dixie haul. I did get a lot of stuff at Publix, but very little of it was food. Most of it was stuff that was on BOGO that were cleaning supplies, so I'm not going to bore you with those. These are the only food items I got, which were some blueberries that were on BOGO. I think they ended up being like $2 a pack. Butter that was on BOGO. I have a decent amount in the freezer, but this is some better quality, nice butter. So I think I ended up getting that. It was like $4.99 each, so $2.50. A block of butter. I got some organic carrots and some broccoli slaw that I'll end up turning into like, you know, the broccoli slaw that you eat like coleslaw. So that's the only food items from my Publix order. And I don't remember exactly how much just that portion was, but it was a small amount. But I'm gonna get back, get all this stuff separated, because the main card for UFC is getting ready to start in 5 minutes. And just like that, at 7:30, all the meat is put away. Chris isn't quite ready to eat yet, so I grabbed myself one of these zero sugar Dr. Peppers Trevi brought. She was not fond of them, so I'm giving them a try. And then she also brought some of these Slim Jims. She figured out they have gluten in them. She can't have them, so she brought them to us. So I'm gonna have a snack and go watch a couple fights, and then we'll figure out what we're doing for dinner. Hey guys, so it is a little after 9, kind of late to do dinner, but Trev is home from visiting her brother and the grandbabies, and everybody's ready to eat. So I just have some of those little thin steaks I'm cooking up in the pan real quick in butter and some seasoning. Steamed up some broccoli. I'm cooking up some of that same shrimp we had, I believe it was last night, and some scrambled eggs. So I'm gonna do mainly scrambled eggs and steak, and skip the shrimp, but Trevlin and Chris love the shrimp. All right, that one is Trevlin's, that one is Chris's, and I'm working on mine, and we'll be wrapping this up. It's 9:20, and dinner's done. Hey guys, it is a little after 1 on Sunday, and I'm getting ready to make the first meal of the day. I'm just kind of using stuff up in the fridge. This is bacon that I had made last Sunday, so I guess it's like a week old. So we're gonna finish that up. Those are some sausages from earlier in the week. I know Chris will eat those. Trevi is here still. She hasn't left to go back home yet. So she said she really wants some scrambled eggs. I have been outside working, and it's miserable outside because I live in Florida, and the idea of anything hot, I just can't even. So I was picking through our berries that are in the fridge, and I pulled out ones that absolutely need to be used and threw the ones in the chicken bucket that are past their prime. So and some yogurt. So I'm probably just gonna have a little bit of yogurt and berries, and then make them some eggs and sausage and bacon. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this whipped up so I can keep going with my Sunday cleaning. So that is Trevlin's plate. My yogurt was in the outside refrigerator, and I had it a little too close to the ice maker and the vent coming from the freezer, so my yogurt is frozen. So my lunch, I might have to have a plan B. Maybe I'll have some cottage cheese. I pulled some cottage cheese out, and I'm gonna put a little bit of that on Chris's plate also, but I'm gonna go ahead and dish his up now. And this is Chris's plate. He probably won't eat all those sausage, but I honestly wanted him out of the fridge. So what he doesn't eat will just go into the chicken bucket, or he might share it with a dog. a little bit of cottage cheese with some fruit on top, 2 slices of bacon, the rest of the eggs that were in the pan, and that's it. All right, I'm gonna run this to him, and then I don't know if I'm even gonna eat. I might nibble on a little bit of this fruit and a bite of cottage cheese, but I think I'm just gonna keep on working. Well, I'm not sure I'm gonna have anything to show you guys for dinner for Sunday night. Chris was experimenting with doing something on the grill a little bit different, and so he just cooked a couple of chicken thighs, and he brought me one, and I sat there and ate it while I was on the phone, and never took a picture, never thought about it, and he only made a couple, and we ate them all. So I'm not quite sure if there's going to be anything. We'll see if anybody gets hungry later tonight. It's almost 8. I'm still doing just some house cleaning, laundry, my typical Sunday house reset, getting the fridges cleaned out and in order. So this may be where it ends. If there's something else to add, I'll add it to the end.